We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us today. This is the Golden Gate University undergraduate admissions process for the School of Undergraduate Studies. Welcome. Thank you for joining us during your lunch time. So this presentation should take about 20-25 minutes, and then there'll be some time at the end for Q&A. If you have a question and you can't wait, you can go ahead and type it into the chat box, and one of our enrollment team will get back to you right away, so you don't have to wait to get your question answered at the end. So I'm Liam Anderson, Assistant Dean, School of Undergraduate Studies. We also have our enrollment team, various members of our enrollment team online. Kendra is here, so sorry I don't have your name there because you're usually not on the webinar. I think Claudine is there, Assistant Director Admissions. I don't know if Ben is with us, but this is our team. You'll probably talk with different ones of them depending on your last name. I'll show at the end who you would contact based on your last name. All right, so let's get started. This is our agenda today. We're going to talk about Golden Gate University, why choose us for completing your degree or certificate. We're going to talk about the different programs and schedules for completing your classes. We're going to also look at all the different support services that we have for students at GGU. Then there's the units, you probably bring in credits from somewhere else, so we're going to talk about how that works and the different ways you can maximize your transfer credits. And then at the end, towards the end, we're going to walk through the application process, signing up for your first courses, orientation, and then we'll touch on financial aid at the end before we go to Q&A. All right, so again, here we go. And again, this is going to be recorded, so you'll be able to see it afterwards if you still had questions and didn't get to ask them here, and that will come in an email. All right, so why Golden Gate University? So we've got a really focused program for adult learners, working learners, and we've been doing that for a really long time, over 100 years, as you can see. We have faculty who are working in industry, and so they bring in that real world experience into the classroom. We have really flexible schedules and formats, so you can take courses online, in person, a mix of both. So we're going to talk about that in more detail. Our tuition is very affordable for the market, so we have a new student undergraduate grant, which gives you 30% off your tuition. And if you're transferring in credits from other institutions, there's additional ways you can save, and we'll talk about that. And finally, our alumni network is huge and spread out across the country, a lot of them in the Bay Area, and they can be really instrumental in helping you kind of maximize the value of your degree. All right, so we've been voted for the 4th year in a row by Washington Monthly for the #1 school for adult learners, so you can look at their ranking methodology on their site. So they were looking at things like the ease of transferring credits and enrolling, and you'll see, for example, we're in summer, right? But we have a summer seat term coming up. And there is, if you're really fast, still a chance to start your courses in July. The window is closing though, so we'll talk about that. Otherwise, there's the fall semester coming up in a couple months. The flexibility of our programs, which includes the times that you can take them and the instructional methods, online or in person, for example. All the different services we have for working adults. The percent of students who are over 25. The mean earnings of students after 10 years after entering college, the loan repayment rates after you enter the repayment phase of your loan, if you're using loans, and then tuition and fees for in-district students, which are very competitive. So Washington Monthly does this ranking every year. I think they haven't done the 2021 yet, so it'll probably, we're expecting to be #1 again, so it'll be worth checking their site when that comes out. All right, so let's look at our different programs. So we've got our degrees on the left. So we have our Bachelor's of Arts in Management, and this is a degree really focusing on what it means to be a manager in an organization. And so you're learning the core fields of management, including also HR, marketing, and a little bit of IT. And then from that basis, you are able to branch out into one of 5 different concentrations: HR, IT, psychology, marketing, or public administration. And you don't need a concentration. It's worth saying you can just get a general management degree. That's perfectly fine. And so then we have our Bachelor's of Science in Business, which has a focus a little more on quantitative analysis in a business setting. And this concentration, the set of concentrations for this degree has, for example, accounting, data analytics, also the ones that are part of the Bachelor's of Arts, but additional ones that do have a quantitative foundation, including as well operations and supply chain, and as I said earlier, accounting and data analytics. So these are kind of, this is a gateway to a more kind of quantitative numbers focused career. And it gives you a broader a choice of concentrations that you can choose from. It doesn't have as many options for transferring credits because it does have more requirements, required courses you need to take. So there are pluses and minuses between the Bachelor of Science of Business and the Bachelor of Arts in Management. All right, so we also have our 4 new degrees. I say new because we launched them last year. So they're basically a year old, but we like to call them new because they feel new to us. So we've got the Bachelor's of Science in Data Analytics. So instead of, for example, doing a concentration as part of the Bachelor's of Science in Business, and you know you want to go into the fields of the rapidly growing field of data analytics, which is really in demand in terms of jobs right now, then you can go ahead and say, yeah, I'm going to commit to this, and all of your upper division courses will be around things like R and Python and those scripting languages that are really important for that field. Then we have the Bachelor's of Arts in, we call Organizational Leadership and Human Skills Development, or BAOLHSD for short. And this is really more of a focus on soft skills and kind of the quick thinking, innovation, agility, diversity, inclusion, kind of all of the skills that organizations in the 21st century say they need in their workforce. So we've created this degree with our faculty and industry partners to really address those high in demand skills. So this is a really new and kind of forward thinking degree. So talk to your enrollment counselor about that. And then we have some more familiar subjects, Bachelor of Science in Accounting, which GGU has a big accounting school. And we have a lot of expertise in accounting, and that's why we're happy to offer the accounting at the bachelor's level, as well as a pathway to the CPA if you're interested in that. And a Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology, which is a perennially popular undergraduate degree, because it can be used in so many different fields. So we're really happy to be able to offer that as well. All right, so those are kind of our 6 degree programs. And then we have certificate programs. If you're looking to upskill in a certain area, accounting, finance, international business, data analytics, you can take a certificate which has anywhere from 3 to 6 courses usually. You take them at GGU, you can do them in a term, 2 terms, a year. And then that's a good way to kind of dip your toe in the water. And if you're in a job and you don't need a whole new degree, take a look at our certificates. All right, so we've got some student profiles just to give you an idea of what it looks like for a Golden Gate University student to kind of bring some credits into our program, and then what they do with them and what they do afterwards. So our first student on the left here, Angelina Grona, Bachelor's of Arts in Management, concentration in Marketing. She transferred from City College SF with an ADT, that's 60 units. She worked as part-time in our marketing department on campus while she was in her degree. And then she got a job as an automation specialist and promoted in another company to a demand generation manager. Danielle Lacey, BSB, so that's Bachelor of Science in Business and Accounting. So she was a credit supervisor in the hospitality industry before coming to GGU. And while she was at GGU, worked for CPA, getting experience in industry doing tax prep. Afterwards, got a job in a cannabis company, a really big growing industry, especially in California. And she is planning to do her CPA. She might have done it already, but this is kind of why she did the Bachelor of Science in Business, because she was able to get credits towards sitting for the CPA exam. All right, so let's skip over to kind of the schedules and the different ways that you can take courses. So right now, of course, due to the pandemic, we have courses that are only online. Normally, we do have courses on campus, and they run from Mondays to Thursdays, as well as a limited availability on Saturdays in those 2 time slots that you see there. So the way you can take your courses now that we're all online is in the online asynchronous format, which you have access to the LMS, and that's kind of your portal for engagement with your classmates, your instructor. You'll post on the discussion board, you'll watch the videos, you'll submit your assignments, So you're logging onto that course website multiple times throughout the week is typically how it works. And then you have a different format, which we call either blended or mixed mode. So this is kind of a hybrid format. So you have some of that flexible online asynchronous instruction, as well as some live Zoom sessions where your instructor is teaching you on Zoom like we are on here now, and you see all your classmates. And so they might use, for example, breakout rooms and put you in different sub rooms so you can discuss topics with your classmates. And then they'll bring you back, and then, so that could happen either for blended, it's every other week. A mixed mode usually is 2 times per term. So you might have the Zoom meeting at the beginning is usually a lot of the ways instructors do it, and then maybe in the middle of the course or at the end. But it is up to the instructor. So when you're looking at courses, you want to look at that schedule to make sure you're available to attend those Zoom sessions. And those are great ways to, see your instructor face to face, meet your classmates, kind of create that community for the short time that you're in a class together. So these are kind of how we're working now. In the fall, we are going to be online as well. So we will continue to have both online asynchronous and online synchronous instruction using Zoom. And it looks like the spring semester is probably when we're going to be opening the campus again, but everything is changing, as you all know. Everything is kind of up in the air, but that's basically where we are right now. All right, so student resources. So GGU provides resources, kind of not the stuff that you don't need, but the stuff that working adults need in order to get them through their degree and make sure they're able to balance their probably very busy work, personal life as well. So there's your academic advisor, and this person is your partner in kind of planning your degree pathway and making sure that you're kind of scheduling courses in formats that would work for you and your schedule. You've got career services. You can see some of the flyers there. They have different services which are completely available online. They'll have recruiting events, they'll have workshops for improving your interview skills, resume, cover letter, you name it. And so these are ongoing, and these can include some either asynchronous or synchronous methods. So you could have somebody talking to you in a panel event, for example, where you have recruiters sharing tips, or you could have something a little more instructive where it's telling you, for example, this is how you apply to jobs or work on your resume or submit whatnot. So then we have tutoring. Tutoring primarily in English and math, as well as accounting. So if you haven't been in an academic environment in a while, we totally understand. And that's why we have tutors available, usually by appointment. Also, sometimes there's a drop-in tutoring available. And this is one of the most heavily used services of our students. We've got the tech support. This tech support, especially if you're using an LMS like Moodle for the first time, it can be a little intimidating. And so the tech support is really there to help you if you're trying to access the different course resources or submit a paper or something like that. All right, disability services. If you have any problems with access, either on campus or in person or on a computer, our disability services department can kind of help remove some of those barriers to make sure you can access all of the course content. Our mentorship program is built around a website called GGU Connect. You can see the link there on the right side, which is kind of like a LinkedIn specifically for the GGU community, which includes students, alumni, community members who are working in industry. So it's a great kind of way to get integrated into the professional community. And also there's something called a guided mentorship program where you can be matched with a specific mentor and spend a little more time with them kind of exploring career options. So this is a really unique experience that we offer for undergraduate students. We have some wellness services and counseling to make sure you're thinking about your health as well as making sure that you're able to complete your requirements. So this is a super useful service, especially now. It's a little stressful. Everybody's kind of in a different situation than they were 6 months ago. And so we understand that. And this service really is there to kind of help you navigate whatever you need to navigate to get through with your courses and your degree. And finally, library and research. everything that all their databases are online, so you're able to access that. If you need access to data, if you need access to, company reports, we have librarians who can kind of help you find that. So we have lots of subscriptions to very exclusive databases to help you complete your work. All right, so we don't only do classes, we also have events. So we have a series called GGU Presents, where we have professionals in the field come and discuss ideas and issues that kind of touch on business and technology and law. And of course, everyone's favorite topic, the pandemic. So here's an example of some recent events that have been discussed. We have a page. You can register as a prospective student. You don't need to be a GGU student. You can be a prospective student. You just need to go on the page. The link is there and register for an event. And it gives you a good idea about some of the things that are kind of hot topics on campus. And also sometimes you'll have a professor showing up so you can kind of see your future professor maybe in action in one of these events. All right, so we're gonna shift. So now we're talking about transferring credits. So coming from a community college, if you have 60 units, which equates to an ADT, not always, so you need to make sure that you are at your community college in the ADT track. So when you finish those 60 units, you're able to transfer that associate's degree for transfers, which is what ADT stands for, into one of our bachelor's degree programs. So all ADTs can go into the organizational leadership degree. And then there's specific ADTs you need to get into data analytics, psychology, management, and accounting, you can see there. So if you're in community college now, and you want to take advantage of this, and you also get the tuition rate of $300 per unit, make sure you talk to your community college counselor and make sure you're on that ADT track. We have an online study partner called study.com. And there is a partnership program with them called Aspire. So this is a way for you to really complete your bachelor's degree at a very quick pace with a very limited amount of tuition. So I'm gonna jump forward so you can see, first of all, what is study.com? Study.com is an online learning platform. It's completely asynchronous. So you can take the courses 24/7, anytime, anywhere, on your phone, on your laptop, etc. So most of the content are based on videos. There's also some readings and flashcards, study guides. And you then do your assessments, which could be, there's a proctored exam for college credit transferable courses. For English courses, there might be a written component. And those are graded by readers. And they offer over 200 credit granting courses. So their library is getting really big. And so there's a lot of GGU degree requirements that you can take at study.com and then transfer them over. And then you'll be kind of on your way to finishing your degree a little faster. So as long as you finish, if you have at least 60 units, I believe you can then go into the Aspire program where you're able to take the GGU courses for 300 per hour, or sorry, 300 per unit, excuse me, or credit hour, same unit measurement. And you can go up to 90 units using study.com. So it's the final 30 credits at GGU that are the important that you need to do with us. And those are the ones, usually students take those final 30 units. Those are the upper division courses that are really relevant to their degree, like the data analytics courses, the accounting courses, where it's really important to get that really specialized knowledge from a real professor. So this is a typical, and then if you do it this way, you really are saving a lot of money and completing a degree for under $15,000. So we have other partners too. These two partners, onlinedegrees.com and Sailor Academy, offer a lot of their college credit courses for free, which is pretty amazing. So they don't have as big a catalog as study.com, but their courses, a lot of the ones, especially onlinedegrees.com, can be transferred over to GGU, and then you can have some courses that are already taken care of. And so this is another really great way to speed up your completion of your degree. And all of these organizations, study.com, Online Degree, Sailor, as well as all the community colleges and other organizations, are part of the ACE Transfer Credit Network. So if you are unsure if your credit transfers, the best thing to do is talk to our enrollment counselors, because that's how you figure out for sure what credit is going to transfer and get an evaluation. But the ACE network is the main network where we accept transfer credits from lots of institutions. So you can see the list of all the institutions that are very likely to have transferable credits that you can bring to GGU. All right, so here's kind of an overview of our application process. So you're creating an online account at ggU.edu/apply. The first thing you really want to do after you do that is to order your transcripts, because these can take, if they're sent electronically, it can be pretty fast, which is the ideal way, but some schools are still relying on snail mail. So they're printing out, a transcript, putting a stamp on it, and a sealed envelope, and then snail mailing it to us. So that can be a slow process, to say the least. So it's not ideal, but we don't really have control sometimes over how that happens. So this is why it's really recommended to really start collecting your transcripts as soon as possible. And our enrollment team can help with that. But this is something that's going to be really important to make sure you get all your transferable credit. And then you get your admissions decision, and then it's time to register for classes. So some of the transcripts that we take for VA students, for example, the JST or CCAF. We also take the CLEP exam, the DSST, AP exams. And there's a prior learning assessment that's kind of changing a little for the fall. So there's different ways to get credit for the learning of your work experience. So you might want to ask your enrollment counselor about that if you think you have some experience that kind of should be given credit for. All right, so how are we deciding on your admission? Well, you need to transfer in at least 12 units, and there's different ways to do that, up to 93. We need your official college transcripts. So in some cases, you can start without having all your official transcripts, but eventually, in order to get those credits, you'll need to get all those transcripts in. So then we have a GPA that we calculate based on your evaluation. Again, bringing in all the transferable credits from all those different places that I mentioned. For VA students, the JST or CCAF. And for some students, there might be a requirement, for example, if you're not a native English speaker, or if there's something about maybe you've been jumping around to a lot of different schools, we might require a statement of purpose to kind of clarify, why now? Why are you going to complete your degree now? So this is not required for everybody, and we'll let you know if that's needed. Additionally, some students might need placement tests, which nobody likes, but really important to make sure you're in the right level of English and math. And based on your evaluation and the courses you've taken in those subject areas, English and math, your academic advisor will let you know, your enrollment counselor will let you know if you need to take those. So that's an important thing to think about. So not everybody, again, needs to take those placement tests. So after that process, your enrollment counselor will put you in our first course, UGP 10, Gateway to Success, which is kind of, it's kind of a fun course, but it really helps you with, excuse me, a lot of the skills that are necessary to succeed in the GGU program. And then we have our orientation. We have an online portion. And then we have a live orientation where you get to meet kind of the team that's responsible for your student experience. And then you're going to have your meeting with your academic advisor, which is going to really help you figure out, it's going to help you figure out like how long are you going to be here, right? What courses do you need to take and when? If you want to graduate in a year or 2 years and so forth. So that meeting is going to happen pretty soon after you're admitted and you register for your first course. All right, we're in the home stretch. We've got a couple more slides. So we're going to talk about money, the financial aid process. So after you're admitted, you will get a link to an application. And this is what you're going to fill out to qualify for all of our financial aid. Then there's the federal aid. So if you need federal aid or federal loans and grants, you want to fill out the FAFSA. And we have our school code here. And important for federal aid is that you need to take at least 2 courses or 6 units per semester. So we're not going to talk really specifically about the different scholarships and grants and loans because there's too many for too many specific needs. So we have our financial aid website that you can go to kind of look at that. And we have our financial aid office to kind of go into depth in those things. So if you are a VA student, you're probably interested in the BAH, which is the housing allowance. So this requirement to receive 100% of this is to be in normal times on campus once per week. But now we have our qualifying hybrid options, which are online. So if you are in either on, the courses are set up as in-person courses, but right now they're meeting on Zoom every week. Or if you're in one of the blended or mixed mode courses, which we mentioned earlier, those also qualify for BAH. So you just want to make sure when you're registering for courses that you are in one of those qualifying courses, and your academic advisor can help you figure that out. So we have a lot of courses that are offered in either blended or mixed mode. And we have a special rate for active military students, $250 a unit. And we have an office specifically for veterans questions, which is va@ggu.edu. All right, we are at the end. So thank you for joining us. So this is our enrollment team again, who we mentioned at the beginning. We have Victoria, A through D. So this is, if your last name is A through D, you would reach out to Victoria, Claudine, L through Q, Abigail, E through K, and Ben, R through Z. So this is our enrollment team based on Alpha last name. There's their email and phone. I recommend you reach out to them if you haven't already, or if they might have your name already if you filled out a form, so they might be reaching out to you soon. But we are at the end, so let's go ahead and open it up for questions. If you have any questions which weren't answered, go ahead and you can unmute yourself, or you can just type it in to the chat box.
And also to all the attendees today, we will be emailing out the application waiver code since you guys attended the webinar. And so just stay tuned for that. And if you already put in an inquiry, then we should have your email and we've taken attendance already. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Claudine. All right, let's see if there's anything in the chat box in terms of questions. All right, so we have one here. Justin Freeman, how long does the application process take after everything is submitted?
So it really depends, like Liam had mentioned earlier, on the transcripts you'll be sending. We have students that maybe only have 2 transcripts that they have to submit, and then they're delivered to the school via electronic documents. If the school is going to be sending the transcripts via snail mail, regular postal mail, then it could possibly take a while. So, you know, ballpark wise, it could, your application can be completed in as early as a week's time. But if the school is slow on sending the transcripts over, then it can sometimes take months. So we definitely want to make sure that we get those transcripts in a timely manner so that you're able to be evaluated, and then we'll be able to make an admissions decision shortly after.
All right, couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you. Thanks, Justin, for the question too. Any other questions out there? I have a little more time. All right, I guess I answered most of them. That's good. So again, look out for that email with the waiver code and the link. And thank you for attending today. We'll have another webinar in a couple weeks. Again, if you want to start in summer C, I think it's possible, but you really got to get on the ball. Otherwise, we have our fall term coming up in September. So thank you for attending. Stay safe and healthy, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.